artificial intelligence. If you ask anyone over the age of 60 and anyone who's seen iRobot, they'll say it'll be the end of humanity in its entirety. But before that happens, I'm going to ask for its help. In Minecraft, you see some AI apps have this cool feature that allows you to generate pictures of anything you want. For instance, I asked ChatGPT to come up with the most bizarre sentence you can think of, then used part of that sentence to create probably the first ever image of an octopus dressed in a sequin tuxedo serenading a crowd of glow-in-the-dark penguins. First, we're going to need to know what to build and where to build it. Now, as you can see, I have 20 steak, and that's all the food in my name. After I eat all this, I'm going to be going and farming potatoes. So what I'm wanting to do, I'm wanting to build a barn. And I'm thinking, I had something cleared out right here, but you can see how that could possibly be a problem building right there. So I was thinking it would look really cool when coming down the hill having a barn right here. But obviously this terrain isn't exactly ideal. Look, we already have plenty of animals to start this barn farm too. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and clear out a little spot. And with a spin, everything's cleared out. Don't you love editing? Now I said I was wanting to build a barn, but let's be real. Anybody can just look up barn and millions of pictures will come up of barns. But I'm wanting to make my barn unique. And in order to do that, I'm going to ask for help from AI. I'm using ChatGPT, and I asked it for cool and unique things for the outside of a barn. And it gave me a long list of ideas. However, I only chose to do these 6 things. A vertical garden, mural, string lights, signs. It has to be wildlife friendly, and a cupola and weather vane. If you didn't know what that was, I didn't either. It's one of these things. Then I asked it to generate an image of these things, and it came up with this. So, now that we have our reference photo, let's go ahead and gather the materials that we're going to need to build our barn. I'd just like to say, I'm not building the exact picture that you saw earlier. I'm just using that as a reference photo. Like, the color's going to be different. There's not going to be building the funny looking cat and dog that you saw on the mural. I'm going to be doing something completely different. Despite this, it still looks really good. You're going to want to stick around till the very end of the video to see how it ends up. So this should be everything I'm going to need, hopefully. I don't know. I might have to go and get more materials because this thing's pretty big, and it's like twice the size of that building up there, which is currently my biggest building. But anyways, yeah, you guys sit back, relax. I look like a pin cut. Oh, it just disappeared. Anyways, you guys sit back, relax, listen to some music, and watch this montage of me building the barn. Alright, we are now done with the basic part of the build. Now we got to get on to what ChatGPT gave us to do. And as you can see on the reference picture, the string lights are in this little lean-to bit. So let's go ahead and do those. And now it wouldn't be string lights if there were no lights. So let's go ahead and put some lanterns on here. And boom, that's string lights done. And the next part's going to be pretty visible from the front, and that's going to be the signs. So let's go ahead and grab these. Now, if you haven't seen before, I'm going to be making the big bubble letters that you might have seen. If you watch Hermitcraft, you might have seen those guys do it. And that's going to be what I'm doing. Next, we're going to dye them blue. Then give them glow. And as you can see, whenever we come down here, it's going to be super visible, but I think the blue just really makes it pop, and I like it a lot. Next thing is going to be something super simple, and I'm going to do more with this later, but just for time's sake, I'm going to be making a small pond for the wildlife friendly part of it. Put some rocks around it. Put some grass in it. Put some sugar cane down, and a little bit of gravel. And then last but not least, we need a fish. Look how happy he is. Now, if you're wondering what this big hole in the side of the barn is, that's because this is where the mural goes. So let's get to work building that. Now, building a pixel art of anything at this scale is almost impossible. What I did is I made a very pixelated art of a very pixelated picture, a famous picture. And if you can guess what that pixelated picture is, then your name's going to be given to the fish. So, if you know what this is, leave it in the comments, and you can have your name forever in my world, or as long as the fish lives, but hopefully that'll be forever. So yeah, go ahead and leave it in the comments. Next thing is going to be around the back, and as you can see, the back of this building is looking very plain, and that's going to be the living wall, or vertical garden, I think is what it's called. So, let's go ahead and get to work on that. And as simple as it is, I think that's all I'm going to do for the vertical garden. I think that looks pretty good. That block is wigging out. Look at that. But anyways, yeah, this is going to be all I'm going to do for the vertical garden. Last but not least is the thing that I had no idea what it was called. I knew what it was. I just didn't know what it was called. It's the cupola and weather vane. And as you can see with the piston and levers, I'm going to have to get a little bit creative with this one. So let's go ahead and strip these, and this is going to be the base for it. So since I made the center of this building 2 blocks like a rookie, I'm going to need the armor stand to be in the middle. But as you can see, you can't place the armor stand in the middle of a block. So that's why I have the pistons. So if I put the fence there and then the piston here, and then power the piston, it's pretty close to the center of the block. Close enough for what we need it for. Now you can go ahead and put the armor on the armor stand. And then next comes the stair and the slab, which are going to go like this. But I need to push them over the armor stand, so that's what the pistons are for again. And if we power these, they're down where they're supposed to be. Then if we put the chains on the end of the slab and the stair, that's going to be our weather vane. I know, it's not great, but it's the best I could do with the space that I have. And I think it looks pretty good, especially if you stand on our path. I think it looks pretty good. Now, you can't see the signs, but I mean, that mural, I think that looks really good on the side of the building. It just gives it a touch of color. And I mean, I think it looks pretty decent. As you come closer, you can see the signs come in, and that blue really pops. I think that looks really good. And then once again, if you come over here, you can see the string lights. We have the pond over here for it to be wildlife friendly. And then if you come around the back, you got our vertical garden. But I need to put fences in here because this is where the animals are going to be. Now, I know what you're thinking. I'm putting animals in here. How is that wildlife friendly? And if you're wanting me to plead my case, read this. But if we come in here, this is not, but yeah, as I was saying, the interior of this building is not great. So if I come out here, go into this corner, you can see that the interior of the building is completely done. Isn't that cool? And as you can see by the composters over here, this is going to be where I put my villagers when I inevitably get them. But I don't know when that'll be. So let's kind of explain what's going on here. In order to prevent mobs, there's this trick that you can use. I hope it still works. I don't know. Where if you put 3 layered carpets on top of each other, the mobs can't pathfind their way into it. So hopefully, whenever I put villagers in here, zombies won't be able to get to the villagers. It also adds in the fact that the blue matches the blue with the sign. So I think that looks pretty good, along with this painting up here. And if you come up here, there's more paintings on these sides right here. But if you come around here, you have a little bit more storage, a painting, a lantern, whatnot. And yeah, that's pretty much the interior. But if you look up here, you can see that this, I'm just going to leave this like this. I might eventually put like a sugarcane farm up here, which I think would be pretty cool. But it wouldn't be very practical because I'm making a bigger one anyways. The last thing I'm wanting to do is kind of terraform the outside of this a little bit. As you can see, all I have is this pond over here, and other than that, I just put some grass, but I can do a little bit more. The first thing I'm wanting to do isn't actually terraforming, but I'm wanting to make a well, and this is a super simple, small well that I recommend you building in your world. I'm not even going to cut. No cuts. This is exactly what you got to do. Never mind, I'm going to have to cut to get slabs. Now that I have slabs, this is all you got to do. Super simple. Get a chain, put a cauldron under it, steal water from your unnamed fish, and put it in the cauldron, and you got yourself a really little, really simple but cool looking well. Then after some bone meal, I think that's going to look pretty good like that. Now just like I did up here, I'm going to want to put some rocks around the outside of the barn. There's no real particular order or place that I'm putting these, but I might put one there, 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 small one there, and maybe just a real little one here. I think that's all I'm going to do as far as those rocks go. And finally, for the terraforming, I'm just going to put buttons down. I think they look like little bitty stones. And it's amazing what it does for the view, just putting those few little rocks in as you walk up. And the last thing we need to do is to get a few domesticated animals on the side of the barn. And now with my last steak, I officially have an unlimited amount of food. If you're not new here, then you know what time it is now. It's time for a high action flyover. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got time for today. I really hope you enjoyed. I put a lot of work into it. I'd like to shout out NowTube. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, but I'd like to thank them for commenting on the last video. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a happy New Year's, and yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Later.